I think actually I think the one that sort of reminded, I mean, you know, Adam and the Ants this year, you know, was, you know, went down amazingly well, I thought, and you know, the one that sort of really changed our perception of how well things like, you know, could go down, you know, that well, you know, really was when, you know, when Blondie played, and that was just incredible. I mean, it sort of surprised us all. It surprised me in particular, just how powerful that was and how strong it was, and how, you know, how people were so enthusiastic about it. So I think those sort of heritage acts have definitely got a place and will definitely continue. It's certainly taken note of, but you know, putting a bill together is a you know, it's a very complicated thing to do. You know, on the surface of it, you know, when you see, you know, 10, 12 bands on the main stage on a Saturday, you think it's been, you know, oh, that looks good. You know, it's actually been really, you know, generally been really complicated for John in particular, John Dunn, to sort of put that together and sort of curate it, as it tends to be called nowadays. And you know, because some bands want to perform in the afternoon, some bands want to perform at certain times of the day, some bands think, well, if I play there and they play there, that suggests that I'm a smaller band than that band, and therefore I don't want to play underneath them. And some bands are available one day but they're not available another day, they're not even, sometimes it's not even touring that particular year. You know, the forums unquestionably take a note of, but actually then fitting that into the jigsaw of the lineup is probably harder than most people appreciate, really. Sadly, probably not. I'd certainly give it a thought. I'll give it a thought and see if I can find out what's happening with him at the moment. But I'd say the chances are pretty slight. But I'll certainly make an effort. Well, I mean, you're only as good as your partners in a way, and Uncut paid the price, and no longer became associated with the event. Absolute I was a little more forgiving of, because I think Absolute's just a terrific radio station, but you know, they may not be involved in Latitude 2012, but it won't be because of that reason. But no, we're generally only as good as our partners, and unfortunately, on those 2 occasions we were let down. But what you have to remember is that on the other 5 occasions we weren't, so we're slightly ahead of the game on it. Actually, I think my highlight was probably, you know, 2 performances. I'm sure when I look back, Ed Sheeran was incredible, really. You know, from a music point of view, it sort of just all worked for Ed. I mean, you know, 6 weeks before that, you know, Ed had played to, you know, 150 people at my youngest son's school, and I sort of promised to make sure he got a slot at Latitude in return, and of course it just went bananas after that, and the timing was just right for him. Latitude timing was just right for him, and you know, it was pouring with rain, it was Saturday afternoon, it was a tough slot actually, but God, he held the crowd, and it was just amazing, and it sort of really set him off on a summer of just absolutely blowing away every audience that he performed in front of. That was amazing. I actually thought the National was amazing. I thought the National was one of the just an amazing set. I thought they really stepped up to become a headliner. I thought it was an absolutely extraordinary set, and one of my favourite sets at Latitude of all times, really.